Hey guys! So we are here again today for another episode of Friday Reads, where we talk about all the books that we've read and plan on reading this weekend. That was what the opening was. I remember. All right, so everybody, sit down. Let's chat because I have so many things that I want to. No, okay, maybe not a lot of things. I guess it just kind of depends on like how my kids are going to act. They are supposed to be. They know I'm recording, so hopefully they'll be nice and allow me to kind of say what I need to say. So I decided to remove the fuzz ball, even though it's cute, and the whole purpose was so that I wasn't like, it was like a filter type thing. But honestly, I don't care anymore. Like, I was even thinking about getting rid of this arm thing because I felt like I'm just doing too much. And so I was just like, I don't know. Oh, got the coconut oil on the side. Whenever I'm recording, my lips get really, really dry for some reason. And so I found myself like licking my lips a lot. So I was like, let me just have the coconut oil on deck. So that, especially I just got off out the shower. So, I'm a little ashy. And so I just got it there just in case if I need it on hand. But anyways, hi everyone. I hope everyone's having a great week. I survived. I got myself a Swiffer duster, I think that's what it's called. Usually when I'm like wiping surfaces, I'm like actually like using the napkins and the spray and doing all that stuff like that. But I got hip to, and I knew it existed, I just never really cared to like invest in one. But I got one, I ordered one on Amazon. Let me tell you, it changed my life. I was having such a good old time just like dusting everything. I felt really, really good. And I was having a blast dusting anything and everything that I can find. And I like it because like we have the TV here and it's pretty big. So like me being able to like extend the pole and like get back there and get all in the nooks and crannies and stuff like that. The dust don't stand a chance with me now, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, I felt so goofy though because I didn't know how to apply it. So like, is that something, I'm the type of person, I'm being just 100% honest, I don't be reading the instructions unless I like legit have to, like if it's like a big project or something like that. But in my head it'd be like, if I could figure it out, like I don't really care to look at the instructions. But I don't know, even when I looked at the instructions, it didn't really, it was like one of those picture instructions. And so it wasn't really in depth, in regards to how to apply because it's, you can, you throw it away. So I didn't know how to apply it. I didn't know how to put it on. And so I was like thinking like, do I have to like put it in between, because it's like a fork type thing. So I'm like, do I have to put it in the middle of the fork? Like, and I was trying to use it and it was sliding off really fast. And I was just like, I think I'm doing it wrong. It almost got to the point where I was just like, okay, maybe like this isn't the thing for me. Maybe I shouldn't use it. And then I was kind of getting worried. My husband, he likes like, if we purchase things, like we got to use it. Like we can't just waste it type thing. So I was like, oh my God, did I like waste money? I even looked up a video on YouTube and it didn't necessarily say what it needed to say until I looked at the picture on Amazon. And there's like if you swipe across, there's like a zoomed in picture that doesn't say, but you can see that there's an insert type thing. Like you have to insert it inside like, whatever you would call it, a holder or a folder, a flap, whatever, one of the things that you insert stuff in, okay? And so I was just like, I didn't realize that. So I kind of felt a little bit silly about that. I'm still trying to wean my baby because she is getting older and I am done. When I say I'm done, okay, I am done. But she's not, unfortunately for me. And so I had stopped taking my prenatals because I was just, I was forgetting. And usually when that happens, because I deal with anemia, dealt with it my whole life. My iron gets pretty low, and what's happening now as I get older, this never used to happen before, not with any of my other 2 kids that I was breastfeeding. What happens is if I don't take my prenatals after a while, or if I don't get any supplements in after a while, my eyesight starts to get a bit blotchy and like blurry, and then I get a headache, and then like it's really bad, and then I have to like put a heating pad on my head and then go to sleep. And so I'm back to taking my prenatals. I should be doing this. Like I'm always like, I'm so like hard on my kids with making sure like they have everything that they need. When it comes down to me, I really don't, if I'm being honest, I really don't care. And so that needs to stop. It needs to stop, because I need to make sure I'm taking care of myself so that I can be able to take care of my family. And that kind of got a little bit deep there, but that wasn't the point. The point of the matter is I survived. I bought some cleaning stuff to make it easier for me to just like clean. I have this whole thing where when I'm cleaning, I make it harder than it needs to be. So I started investing in gadgets and stuff, and it's making my life easier, and I'm really, really happy about it. So I've been getting a lot of packages from Amazon, and if you can see, I kind of have my camera turned this way, but if I was to turn it just a little bit over here, okay, to the left, you see like a bunch of boxes that my husband has to throw into the recycling bin tomorrow morning before he goes to work. Oh my gosh. Like, it's so fun. Like, I know I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to behave myself, but buying stuff just feels so good. It makes me feel so happy. Getting packages makes me feel so happy. Like, I feel like I'm being compensated for my hard work. I don't want to debate nobody on it. It just is what it is. So it feels nice. I feel like I'm rewarded a little bit. Okay. Another thing that I did this week was I finished this book. I finished it. 28 Summers by Elin Hilderbrand. I'm so happy. I'm over it. I'm done with this book. I am so happy it's finished, because honestly, you guys already know how I feel about the characters. I didn't write any notes or anything like that because I just kind of, I don't know, maybe I was fiending, but also too, I was just like, I was lazy. So it was a culmination of both. I was fiending to come and like have a discussion about it. And then also too, I was too lazy to write things down. I was upset. I was super annoyed. Like I probably had like maybe a little over 100 pages left. Like there was a part where it was a little bit before Mallory's parents passed away. And so there was this whole anxiety of, okay, Ursula is becoming a household name. Like she's becoming very popular and she's running for office. There's a chance that we can get discovered and then this can ruin everything. And it just started to become really annoying. Like the excuses, the reasoning behind it all, it just didn't make any sense. And I just felt like Elin was giving these characters a pass so many times. It didn't feel realistic to me. It kind of had this feminist undertone and it just felt contradictory. It didn't make any sense because it's like, how can we be for women, but we are partaking in the potential of ruining a marriage? There's no lesson here, Once again, Mallory doesn't really get reprimanded. I mean, I guess you can say the universe intervened because she ends up getting sick and all that stuff like that. And she starts to, for a second, only a second, a few times, but only for a second, she would blame herself. Like maybe this is happening because of what I've done, but that still never really changes her. It never really changes her perception in regards to the circumstances and situations she's involved in and partaking in enough to influence her to do the right thing. And I didn't understand that. Because listen, what I mean by when I say go all in and go all out. If this is going to be a story about a person like cheating and then that is a thing, then it's let it be the thing, and let's not make Mallory to look let's not try and justify her actions. You know what I'm saying? There's no justification for Leyland's character. There's no justification for Ursula's. I don't like when terrible things happen to characters in a book for the sake of there being a terrible thing to happen to a character into a book. I'm not saying that these things don't exist, but if this is something that we're going to talk about, then this is something that we really need to talk about. You know what I'm saying? The way that she handled Ursula's, like, just her storyline, I just feel like it wasn't really as creative or as explored as I would have liked. Now, granted, none of the characters are like 100% explored. We are reading this book, and for the most part, like 99.99999% of the time, we are skimming through these guys' lives. And other than the fact that, we are pretty much discussing the relationship of Mallory and Jake and how it affects everyone around him. Even when we kind of tap into how it affects everyone around him, we don't really explore how it really truly affects everyone around him, because like they're pretty much essentially getting a pass every single time. Her brother Cooper finds out about it. He gives her a pass because it's like, we're humans, even though he knows it's wrong and even though it makes him feel sick and he's crying. Mallory uses her parents' death to manipulate people to get what she wants so that she could be with Jake. There was even a point where I think she mentions her parents' death and her sickness to try and manipulate someone to get a house so she could freaking be with Jake. The many of times I had to sit there and read this lady try and like push her son out the house so that Jake can come and they can shack up, and they literally do the same thing every single time. I'm so done. I don't ever want to hear or read or see anything when it comes down to shucked corn. The thing about the Ursula situation, so she was essayed. The way that it was done, it was like in a manner, like in a, oh yeah, come to think about it, because I blocked it. I blocked it for so long. Come to think about it, the reason why I voted no for this person to come into Congress is because there was something like this happen in my situation. And so, yeah, now that I can recall. And I was just like, what? The fact that she out of nowhere, like she just became like this mean, like there was a part where like her daughter Bess, I think her name Bess or something like that, she was doing some stuff like protests or whatever like the case may be, and then just out of nowhere Elin wrote that Ursula said some like crazy stuff, and I was like, yo, what? And it was like real rude, like it was real crazy, and I was like, it never really seemed like something that Ursula would do, you know what I'm saying? It felt so off character, even though she comes across as like a judgmental person, but it never seemed like she was like that, like rude and like mean. And I felt like it was only placed there for the sake of like making her once again an unlikable character, and to kind of like create this kind of like relationship where this is why Jake doesn't like Ursula, and that's why he does the things that he does with Mallory. This is why her daughter is eventually going to break away from Ursula, because she's the type of person. It literally feels like a setup. It feels like a setup. When they mentioned the thing that happened to Ursula, it was just like, that thing happened, and so that was that. Like there's this like big situation where there's like a congressman that comes in from Richmond, Virginia, and he's running for office or something like that. Like there's like all these cases that starts happening, all these SA cases that starts coming out or whatever the case may be. I feel like the way that Jake and her daughter Bess tried to pressure Ursula to just automatically mark that Congress guy as guilty, it just felt a little bit uncomfortable for me. Of course, we should take into consideration the stories of victims in order to be responsible human beings, because we are responsible for people's lives. I feel like it's very important to make sure we have all the information that we can before we just completely charge a person. You know what I'm saying? There's been people that's been accused of things that they didn't do, and because people didn't have the humanity, wasn't responsible enough to really do like true and serious like investigation, there's been a lot of innocent people that have been accused and whose lives been ruined because of these accusations. And it becomes tricky, because then there are times where like the person that has done what they've done, they weren't charged, They weren't found guilty. But it's like at the end of the day, as long as we're doing our best to make sure that we are doing what we can, all that we can, everything that we can, you know what I'm saying? That's what matters. You know what I'm saying? And with that whole situation, when it comes down to Ursula and that Richmond, Virginia congressman or whatever the case may be, I just didn't like how they tried to pressure her into like just automatic, like even when she said like, you know, we have to have the facts, like we have to find, you know, we have to make sure we have the evidence to, you know, can fully prosecute him and this, that, and third. It was just like, I was on board with that, but the fact that her husband were like upset with her about it, I was just like, that's so unfair. You know what I'm saying? And so I personally didn't like that. And it just made me dislike Jake even more because I felt like these were things that he was using to say, like to justify why he didn't like her. And the way that Mallory, how she was so possessive of Jake, even though Jake literally doesn't belong to her, even though I guess like they are in a relation, like they are choosing each other, but Jake really isn't hers. And the fact that she felt like she had the gall, she had it within her to go toe to toe with Ursula when she's saying like, hey, like, can you stop seeing my husband? And she really tried to talk out the side of her neck to Ursula, which is like, girl, you might be lucky I don't slap you. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, I drove all the way out here to come see you, and you really about to sit here and try and like back talk me? Like, I'm like, stop seeing my husband. The freak. Like, how are we supposed to be this whole feminist thing, and then you just you acting, it's like we play like give me my toy. It's like, no, but I want it, it's my toy. What are we talking about? Like, what are we doing here? Let it go. You know what I'm saying? I mean, of course she lets it go because someone I think I read like a review or whatever the case may be, because I was like, hang on a second. What are people saying about it? But I read one review where a person called her spineless. You know, it's just like the fact that Ursula simply said like, hey, let it like to stop seeing him. She's like, all right. It's just like, oh my God. So we did all this for what? Like, I just felt like it was towing the line. For me, this is a good example where just like, if we're going to be toxic, then let's be toxic and let's own our toxicity, right? 7 Us Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. If that's what we're trying to do, then let's go all in, let's go all out. You know what I'm saying? But don't be like, oh, I'm so innocent and I'm so like, you know, I'm so nice. I mean, Ursula handled it gracefully. She even said it, she admitted, like, you make Jake happy or whatever the case may be. And it's just like, oh my gosh, like they treat Jake like this like little baby. Mind you, he's older than Mallory, but like it's like, I don't know, whenever I think about Jake, I think of him as like a child. I was just thinking to myself like, yo, this guy is like one of the worst male characters that I've read in a while. And I didn't particularly like the character from The Wedding Party, I think. There's another character. I forgot what the book was called, but it was a book by Abby Jimenez, I think. It was her first book, I think. I didn't like him. I thought he was really weird. Like, I remember, like, there was a scene where, like, they went to go get, like, food at like a food truck or something like that. Or, oh my God, am I mixing that up with Jasmine Guillory's second book? I don't remember. Was it The Wedding Date? Oh my God. Please don't quote me. Should I go on Goodreads? No. But there is a book by Abby Jimenez, and there's a guy or whatever the case may be, and like she was dating someone who's in the military or something like that. But there was a scene where they was like in a car or whatever the case may be, and he told her to sit on her lap or whatever. It was just like, ugh, it was so gross. I don't know. Like, I didn't like his character. So I don't know if I had to, I feel like Jake is like, I don't like him. I would put him like below all of them, honestly, because to me, like I didn't like him. I think Jake was spineless. I think Mallory was spineless. And I felt like we could have had a really good, strong character from Ursula, but I feel like we kind of dropped the ball on her because it was like the whole purpose of Ursula's existence was to be in contrast to Mallory in order to like big her up. And show like, hey, the reason why Mallory is such a good person because, hey, look at Ursula, she's such a terrible person. Of course Jake wouldn't like her. Of course Jake would like cheat on her and be with someone like Mallory because Ursula is just such a terrible person. And so I didn't personally, I don't like it. I don't like the fact that at the end their kids like she implies that their kids might establish a relationship, which is like, that is so gross. I didn't like it when, what's his name? Okay. Sorry about that. So it's going to get a little bit dark in here because my daughter, she came and she wants the light. So I had to give it to her. And my husband came. And so, he brought some crab kickers, which I'm about to crush. What is that book franchise, the Twilight series? And I think Jacob, he prints. What's her name? Regine or something like that. I don't know, but he prints the daughter, which is that is so gross. Like, oh my god, like, isn't that pedophilia? Like, I don't understand what's going on, but whatever, that's none of my business. That is a beloved series, so go off, sis. But anyways, sorry, I'm playing with this napkin. But anyways, so I didn't like how like that whole thing was like a situation. I was just like, oh my god, like what can they talk about? Like, oh, like we're gonna have a relationship like our parents. Like, oh my god, that is so gross. I should have known that nothing was out of bounds when like Mallory, you know, was sleeping with Jake, who was Cooper's best friend, but then she slept and had a baby with Frey, who's Cooper's best friend, childhood best friend, and Jake's fraternity brother or friend or something like that. And then freaking Leyland's dad has an affair with Cooper's mom and they were dating. I should have saw the signs. Will you call that foreshadowing? I should have seen the foreshadowing right there. This book, I would give it 2.5 stars. I feel like it just really felt really flat. Like there was like a lot that was going on and I didn't understand like why there was like so many words in there. I just think that all of the characters were pretty annoying. You know, there was really no message. It just wasn't enough drama for your mama. Even though like she's like 40 at one point, it still felt like she was like in her 20s, and it just didn't make any sense. I'm gonna have to give this away. I might give it to my friend because I was explaining to her that, you know, how much I disliked it. And so maybe, I don't know, I'll give it to her. Okay. All right. So we got some packages. Jody McCloud's book, By Any Other Name. I told y'all I was gonna get it. I told y'all I ordered it. Look, it's here. I'm so happy. The cover looks really nice. I've read the synopsis a little bit. I don't remember because I kind of skimmed through it. And it said something about how it's dealing with two perspectives, I think, or in two timelines. So there's one in the present and then one in the past. And I think that they share a lineage. This brings into focus the story of this lady, Emilio Bassano. And so supposedly she was responsible for a lot of William Shakespeare's plays. And so that's really interesting. I'm really excited to see what that is all about. When I decided to get the book, it was solely off of the fact that it was from Jodi Picoult and the cover was so beautiful and the title was just so lovely. Like, By Any Other Name, like, oh my gosh, I was like, I have to get it, like, I just because. And so I'm really excited to get into it. Oh my god, I don't like hardcover books, but oh my god, this book is a hardcover book and is she thick? I'm just thinking about my freaking poor hands, like having to sit there and read it like this for like a long period of time. Like, I would choose paperback books over hardcover books any day, but I was like, I'll get it. And then, you guys, the star of the show. We're here one moment. Look at my girl. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. Okay, so let's see what it says. If you knew your future, would you try to fight fate? Honestly, I would. the freak. Aside from a delay, there will be no problems. The flight will be smooth. It will land safely. Everyone who gets on the plane will get off, but almost all of them will be forever changed. Because of this ordinary short domestic flight, something extraordinary happens. People learn how and when they are going to die. For some, their deaths are far in the future, age 103, and they laugh, but for 6 passengers, their predicted deaths are not far away at all. How do they know this? There were ostensibly more interesting people on the flight. The bride and groom, the jittery, possibly famous woman, the giant Hemsworth-esque guy who looks like an off-duty superhero, the frazzled, gorgeous flight attendant, but none will become as famous as the death lady. Not a single passenger or crew member will later recall noticing her aboard the plane. She wasn't exceptionally old or young, rude or polite. She wasn't drunk or nervous or pregnant. Her appearance and demeanor were unremarkable, but what she did on that flight was truly remarkable. A few months later, one passenger dies exactly as she predicted. Then 2 more passengers die again as she said they would. Soon, no one is thinking this is simply an entertaining story about a cocktail party. If you were told you had only a certain amount of time left to live, would you do things differently? Would you try to dodge your destiny? Leanne Moriarty's Here One Moment is a brilliantly constructed tale that looks at free will and destiny, grief and love, and the endless struggle to maintain certainty and control in an uncertain world. A modern day Jane Austen that humorously skewers social mores while spinning a web of mystery. Moriarty asks profound questions in her newest I Can't Wait to Find Out What Happens novel. I'm sorry, this is my first time opening it. Not $30. I ain't paid $30 for this. So the books that I've read from her, I've read The Husband's Secret, Big Little Lies, Truly Madly Guilty, 9 Perfect Strangers, Apples Never Fall. Oh, she has books for children. I didn't know that. But the books that I didn't read. So I didn't read 4 of her books. That's got to change. So 3 Wishes, The Last Anniversary, What Alice Forgot, The Hypnosis Love Story. I actually had those 2 books, What Alice Forgot and The Hypnosis Love Story. Then I gave it away. I'm gonna get it back though, don't worry. So yeah, well, that's pretty much it. That's really all that I have to say. I'm gonna start Leanne Moriarty's book tonight, and so I'm like super excited. I feel like, what if like this is all like a scam? Like, I mean, I don't know, because it kind of was like a scam with the 9 Perfect Strangers, you know? So I don't think she would like do something like that again. Maybe the people really are dying. Maybe the old lady really does, like, you know, she does fortune telling and stuff. I believe in that type of stuff. I think those things exist. I don't know. Like, I genuinely don't know what's going to happen. Like, I kind of figured, I don't know if I spoke about it in my first Friday reads. I definitely did not. But I was going, in my first recording, in my first attempt of recording, I talked about, like, how it was giving me Final Destination vibes. But also, too, like, I think it had something to do with, like, a fortune teller or something like that. Like, might be, like, predicting their future or whatever the case may be. I didn't read, like, the full synopsis. I just kind of read like the first portion, like, you know, the first paragraph or whatever. And so I felt like there was going to be some sort of like fortune telling type thing going on, but I'm really excited. Oh my God, tonight's going to be a good night. Tonight is the night where 2 become 1. Or was it 3? Where 3 become 1. But in this case, it's me in the book. So it's 2. Look at this. The butterfly. Like, does it like have something to do with some sort of butterfly effect? Like, do you think? Like, what if everyone causes each other's deaths or something like that? I'm going to go now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Until next time. Peace. And now it's time to say goodbye. My kids wouldn't know about that.